Welcome everybody, this is Ken Rodriguez for the North American Grand Prix GT2 Thursday Night Assetto Corsa League, and we are coming to you live from the United Kingdom at the Silverstone International Circuit. Silverstone, a 3.652 mile circuit, 20 turns, 250 kilometer race format with a max distance of 42 laps. So here we are once again, round 4. Pardon me folks, a little bit of a dry throat, but round 4, and these guys I believe are the drivers should have just finished their drivers meeting, and they're still in the practice session, so there's still some time, a few minutes left for some of these drivers to get some of their last licks in, if you will, before they have to start putting in timed laps. Speaking of time lapse, let's go ahead and take a look at the track map. So the new Silverstone layout that started back in 2011, it is a 20-turn affair, with perhaps the most technical areas being turns 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, which make up the middle sector of this track. Probably where a lot of time is going to be either made up or lost for some of these drivers on a lap-to-lap basis. So they certainly have their work cut out for them. After 3 full rounds of racing here at the North American Grand Prix Assetto Corsa Thursday Night League, we take a look at the point standings for the drivers. John Ludden currently sitting in first, and Brad Maris just one little old point behind him. So certainly John Ludden looking to defend his championship points, but never count out the veteran experience of folks like Brad Maris. We have Ian Jolicoeur running tonight, David Poole, Andres Prato. I haven't seen him on the server tonight, so we're not exactly sure if Andres is going to be making it tonight to join us, but can't count him out either. He's 41 points, sitting in third. As for the team championships, Robbers Dog Racing with 64, Suspect Speed Racing at 55, and Gotta Go By, they are tied for second. Pressure Racing in third, and 05 Motorsport in fifth. So certainly a close race. We're only 4 rounds into this championship season, our season 1 Assetto Corsa League, so there's still plenty of more racing left to go. So we're going to go ahead and take it to the track, jump on board with some of these folks, as looks like we're going to go ahead and get it over to the quali session. Everybody's starting to pull into the pits, so we'll go ahead and pull into the pits with them as well. And they're still in the practice session, so some of these guys are either going to get their last licks in, like I said a little bit earlier, try and get so much for that. We are now switched over to the qualifying session. 25 minutes of open qualifying for these guys. We're going to go ahead and just jump on board as soon as they start heading out, folks. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. First, we'll jump on board with Al Merriman. Al is the boss of the NAGP, currently driving a Corvette here tonight. Go ahead and start following good old Al around this wonderful Silverstone circuit. I'm going to go ahead and start bringing up some statistics for you folks. Kind of changed the color layout this week, hoping that when we move over to the race session, where all the names and all the lap times do go red, will probably offset with this little Christmas color theme I've got going on here. It's red and green, so currently we're following Al Merriman. Let's go ahead and jump on board, see the types of lines that he's taking around this track. Right now, Al Merriman is on an out lap. This is not a timed lap as yet. He's on his out lap. Everybody's still on outlaps. Thomas Schubeck following the boss man around the track. Brad Maris, David Poole, Andrew Werner, who seems to have taken it off track. John Ludden, back to Andrew Werner, Johnny Ackerman, Aaron Parsons, the wonder from down under, John Wathen, Jean-Yves Sampson, Bjorn Heyman, Ian Jolicoeur, joining us for the first time here in Assetto Corsa. Welcome, Ian. It's good to have you on board with us. Chris Moses, Mr. Pit Wizard, John Houston, Kreshnik Khalili still in the pits, and I believe that Kreshnik has a no-qual penalty. Speaking of penalties, folks, let's take it over to the penalty board. So, Jack Ivey suffering a no-qual from last week because of loss of control on lap 1, resulting in contact. Gotta serve that penalty. Kreshnik Khalili made contact with Andrew Werner in the S's. No qualifying for him this week, so that is why these folks are in the pits. Bringing you back to the action here. It's the Silverstone circuit. On board with David Poole now. David Poole having put in an out lap already. This is now a time lap that he is working on. Whoa, nearly cuts the track. We're going to keep the timing and scoring board up there for you folks to keep an eye on. We're going to see who comes across that line first with a true timed lap. Currently looking for Al Merriman out on the track. Oh, John Wathen with an off. He takes it out back to the pits. Do not see Al yet, but Al is the first to cross the line with a timed lap of a 2:07. Awfully quick. And there is Al Merriman, your current provisional pole leader. John Ludden puts in a time lap now with a 2:01.9. Bjorn Heyman with a 2:02.7. Andrew Werner 2:03.2. Oh, and we have Chris Moses now jumping up into the second spot with a 2:08. Ian Jolicoeur jumps up to fourth with a 2:02.67. So these GT2 cars finding plenty of grip here in the early going. Wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a 159 sometime during this practice session. Taking a look at third place, John Ludden. John Ludden, Monday Night GTR2 GT2 League, one half of 05 Motorsport with David Poole. They're making a lot of headlines in the GT2 category. Whoa, as John Ludden takes it wide and off track. No doubt that might invalidate this lap for him. And John Houston with an invalid lap also, which means that they may have taken more than 3 wheels off the circuit. On board with Mike Graytrix, Mike Greatrix crossing with a 206.1. Mike's still trying to get some speed out of that Ferrari. And this circuit here, folks, it's all about timing your corners. You want to hug those apexes as tight as you can. You may scrub off some speed and still be faster than just going all flat out through a corner and missing the apex completely and lengthening the distance of driving, the driving distance, which just totally annihilates your lap times around this place. And like I said earlier, that middle sector from turns 12 all the way to 16, absolutely crucial. That's where your corner timing comes in, your apex incoming, and exit speed, all important exit speed. So, Thomas Schubeck with a 201.7. It's gonna move him up to 4th place. That was a smoker of a lap. So Al Merriman getting faster now with a 2.767 to Chris Moses, 2.878. Brad Maris moving up with a 201.262. David Poole moving up with a 201.422. As Aaron Parsons does a little bit of lawn mowing. Mr. Jeremy Bryant. Jeremy currently sitting in 7th with a 202.1. See how he does coming across the line this time. 202.2. No improvement for Jeremy Bryant after that lap. He'll probably take it back to the pits and see if there's any improvement he can get out of that car. On board with John Wathen. Puts up a 208.5. John Wathen currently sitting 17th. So your provisional pole sitter right now is this driver here, this gentleman here that we're on board with, Mr. Al Merriman. Al Merriman, who is the president and owner of the NAGP Online Virtual Racing League, has given us folks here a great place to race. And of course, for myself, he's given me a job as a broadcaster. I get paid in Snicker bars. There's no real currency involved. But I'm happy to do it. It's my way of giving back to this great community that has given me years and years of enjoyment. Great group of guys here at the NAGP League. Totally knowledgeable, totally skillful, and just all around good guys. David Poole looking to better his time of a 201.383. He goes ahead and takes it into Chappelle mighty quick. Coming out of turn 6 for David Poole. And it looks like he is off the throttle. On board with newcomer Ian Jolicoeur. Ian Jolicoeur, one of our very, very fast guys here in the Monday Night GT2 League. And certainly no slouch here in the Assetto Corsa League either. Ian currently sitting in 10th. his fastest lap of 202.677. Looking to better that time. We'll see how he does this time around as he comes across the start-finish line. He was on an out lap, folks. Sorry about that. So Ian Jolicoeur will go ahead and start a hot lap now. Let's see who else is around the track. Thomas Schubeck currently sitting in 7th. Now, let's tell you something about Thomas. Thomas races he also races with us in the Monday night GTR2 GT2 League. And I think that Tom Schubeck has found his niche here in the Assetto Corsa. He has shown heaps of improvement in his driving skill. His racecraft has significantly improved on Thursday nights. He's a former GT1 driver from our former Thursday night league, which has now been replaced with this Assetto Corsa platform. And Thomas Schubeck sort of picking up where he left off when we closed down the GT1 league, and he's just consistently been in the top 10 for the past few weeks, so good on you, Tom. Following Chris Moses around now. Chris Moses is an administrator of the NAGP League. Chris primarily responsible for the car packs that we run here at the NAGP. Definitely has put in countless man hours of work into our GTR2 car packs, and here as well with the Assetto Corsa League. So big kudos to Chris Moses, also one of our veteran drivers and still very, very fast. Currently sitting in 3rd with a fast lap of 2:08.78. Now Brad Maris jumping up to the top spot with a 2:03.60, and there goes our resident driving instructor, Brad Maris. Brad Maris, one half of our Monday night broadcast team with Al Merriman. Together they broadcast the GT2 GTR2 League on Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time now for United States time zone. And these guys do a phenomenal job on Monday nights. Certainly a worthy tag team of broadcasters. So Brad Maris, who was on an out lap, now starts a hot lap. John McIntyre having joined the server. Let's jump on board with Johnny Mac. John McIntyre currently sitting in the 14th spot with a 2:04.487. Looking to improve on that time as he brings it around the Luffield hairpin. Now into Woodcote. So John McIntyre driving the number 46 Blank Pond Monster Ferrari 458, and it looks like we might be having some sort of connection problems here with Mr. Matt Taylor. Let's see here. Looks like Matt Taylor might be having some serious connection problems, folks. So I apologize for that. We will we'll go ahead and get on to somebody else. Ty Guyen, also a new racer here with NAGP Assetto Corsa Thursday night racing. So good to see that our ranks are starting to grow. The unfortunate part here with Assetto Corsa is that the amount of entries are limited by how many pit boxes are designed on the track. And believe it or not, folks, that even goes for the broadcaster. I'm actually taking up one of those spots, so it's worked out so far so well. But if ever, like Silverstone has 24 pit boxes, if ever 24 drivers showed up, well then, you know, I take a back seat to the drivers who, you know, the competition being the more important element of racing here at an NEGP. So we go on board with Mr. Ty Guyen, driving the number 50 McDonald's Chevrolet Corvette. Ty currently sitting in 18th. Oh, and Ty loses it. David Poole sitting in 4th. David Poole driving the number 11 Mad Croc Chevrolet Corvette. Currently sitting in 4th. Mike Greatrix currently sitting in 16th. Chris Mose is up there with a 2.232 now. John Houston stopping his car. Johnny Ackerman driving the Spider the Spider Ferrari F458, number 70. As is Johnny Sampson, as a matter of fact. So Al Merriman putting up a lap and pulling it off. Andrew Werner in 6th. Last lap of a 2:01.112. Chris Moses now jumps up to the top of the leaderboard with a 2.232. We're gonna bring our timing and scoring back up. So your top 5 drivers now in the 2-minute mark. And boy, I gotta tell you that if anybody here is capable of pulling it in under 2 minutes, it's this man right here, Mr. Chris Moses. He has just been on a tear as of late. Several seasons back in GTR2, Chris Moses having suffered some less than desirable results in his racing, but he pulled it back together. And I got to tell you, Chris Moses has just been he's just put his nose to the grindstone and has made vast improvements, and has been giving some of the top guys here at the NAGP League some serious hell. He has been terrorizing the top ranks here at NAGP. And deservedly so, because I tell you that Chris has been phenomenal. So moving it back a little further down the field, Al Merriman currently sitting in 3rd with a 2.7. Some of these drivers have pulled their cars back into the pits as we start to wind down this qualifying session. And you folks forgive me, I've got to bring something up here, just a real quick config. get rid of this now. I'm sorry about that, folks. It's just to bring up the title bar. We have a little bit over 3 minutes left in the qualifying session, and that's what I wanted to bring up for you guys. So we will go ahead and leave Great Tricks. Oh, Thomas Schubeck with an invalid lap. We are now on board with David Poole. David Poole, one of our really good setup men. This is a guy that if you need a setup for your car, give David Poole a shout. He'll be happy to help you out. Aaron Parsons in the number 74 Corvette. Aaron Parsons currently sitting in 12th. Now, Aaron Parsons in the Assetto Corsa League has been struggling to find some speed at times now. But I gotta tell you, you can't mess with this guy in GTR2 though. He just won our Monday night 2-hour feature race at Interlagos, Brazil. And boy, I gotta tell you, he squeaked out that win, but I tell you, he was the pole sitter, and he just took off from the green flag and never looked back. So big congratulations to Aaron Parsons for that win. And a little bit over 1 minute left in qualifying, folks. Looks like most of the guys have already pulled it in because we are at the end of the qualifying session. Jean-Yves trying to put up a last minute ditch effort, and Jean-Yves going to stay in 13th. And folks, that's about it. We've got about 25 seconds left here, and we're going to be going ahead and bringing it over to the race session. And for those of you who are new to watching us, the North American GP, that's a North American Grand Prix. You can go to NorthAmericanGP.com and check out our website. That's www.NorthAmericanGP.com. So the way this works, folks, is unfortunately I got to be on the grid, and then I've got to escape to the pits as quickly as I possibly can. Ideally, I should be sitting in last place, but that's not the case, it seems. Just waiting now for the red lights to come across the screen here, where I will be escaping from the pits, and then I'll go ahead and start bringing you guys the live action. Looks like the red lights are going to start coming across now. And once they do, I am out of here. And let's go ahead and jump out on track, folks. And we're going to go ahead and get out with the leaders as quickly as we can. Looks like Chris Mose is currently sitting in second. Who is ahead of him? We are going to find out. Doesn't surprise me. It might be Mr. David Poole himself. Yep. David Poole out to an early lead and battling fiercely with Chris Moses. Brad Maris in third. So your pole sitter, looks like they may have gotten the whole shot on him. Al Merriman currently in fifth, and we have to find out who's in fourth. So Jeremy Bryant, let's see if we can go ahead and pull up some stats over here for you folks. Al Merriman sitting in fourth, Jeremy Bryant in fifth. So your early leader, David Poole, looking for a way to check out from this field. We're going to go ahead and take it on board with number 2, Chris Moses, as he tries to hunt down Mr. David Poole. And so we've got some questions in the chat room. So this is a private league. It's not only for veterans, it is for rookies and veterans alike. Let's see, so you've got a wheel and all that jazz. Then what you need to do is you need to head on over to NorthAmericanGP.com, sign up for the forum access, and go and get yourself educated on how things go around here. And of course, you are always welcome to post questions if you are not certain about anything that goes on in the league. You are more than welcome to post questions, and we have a slew of very knowledgeable veterans that are more than willing to give you all the answers that you possibly could need or want, as a matter of fact. So on board with Brad Maris, looking ahead to Chris Moses, David Poole with the early lead, Al Merriman your 4th place leader. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is all Chevy. It's a Chevy showdown right now. And Ian Jolicoeur in the 5th spot, our newcomer to Assetto Corsa League on Thursday nights, kind of breaking up the mix there and bringing Ferrari into the foray as he brings it right up on Al Merriman's bumper. No doubt trying to get some type of a run on Al Merriman, get into his draft and see if he can perhaps make a move in one of these corners as they head on down to Copsey now. They're going through Copsey. This is a 4th gear turn. Don't want to take it too wide because you just lose way too much time coming out of Copsey when you've gone wide. And through Maggots and then Beckett's. Again, oh, Al Merriman takes it off track. Trying to find his way around Brad Maris. And as you can see, the field just coming down the Chappelle straight into turn 7 Stowe. Depending on the car you're driving, this is either a 3rd or a 4th gear affair. Let's jump back on board. Oh, they take it wide. Looks like there may have been a little bit of contact there between Al Merriman and Ian Jolicoeur. So now Brad Maris and Ian Jolicoeur going at it side by side as they come through turn 11, which is Club, and through the start-finish line. Oh! Brad Maris and Ian Jolicoeur side by side, neither one giving an inch. A little bit of bumping and grinding going on there. They are now coming into, looks like the arena bend. So on board with Jeremy Bryant and now Andrew Werner, Johnny Ackerman. Let's go ahead and pull up our P-Tracker and see where everybody's at. So looks like, wow, Al Merriman having fallen all the way back to the 20th position. Brad Merris currently sitting in third. We're going to take it up front real quick with your number 2 spot, which is Chris Moses, not letting David Poole get too far away. And as you can see, as we look out the back of Chris Moses' roof cam, he and David Poole have already started to distance themselves from the rest of the field. So a tight battle going on here all the way back to position 8, P8, where Tom Schubeck is currently running. Lots of great close racing that's going on here, folks. Get this P-Tracker out your way real quick so we can bring you a full screenshot of what's going on. John Luden here in Parsons running in 10th, Bjorn Heyman in 11th, Kreshnik Halili in 12th, Sam Rolfe 13th, Ty Guyen 14th, Mike Gratrix 15th, being hounded by Jack Ivey in 16th, John Houston in 17th, Jean-Yves Sampson in 18th, Al Merriman up to 19th now, and it looks like John McIntyre in 21st, John Wathen in 20th, and your race leader David Poole out front, just laying the law down here tonight. Chris Moses right behind him. Chris not too far behind. And boy, if I had to venture, I'd say that there's probably about a second separating your first and second runners right now. Gonna take a little bit further back right now and see where the other positions are currently lined up. So for some odd reason, we're jumping from 3 to 5. Have to bring up P-Tracker again. 4th currently Jeremy Bryant, showing him in position 5. And the reason for that, folks, is because the positions will not update in a Assetto Corsa until they have crossed the start-finish line, which Jeremy Bryant is about to do right now. So if I switch off and back on, you will now see that Jeremy Bryant is in 4th position. Ian Jolagor in 5th. And a heated battle with Andrew Werner. And just behind them, Johnny Ackerman, Thomas Schubeck, running 6, 7, 8. John Ludden in 9th. So the format for this race tonight is 250 kilometers or max distance of 42 laps. It looks like Aaron Parsons now moving up, taking a little bit wide, but now starting to make some inroads to this group up ahead, which are essentially vying for the 5th position. Aaron Parsons taking it way wide. So, still looking at Aaron Parsons, trying to find some way to gain some ground here. No doubt when you're one of the fastest guys and are accustomed to running up front, having to try and find your way around some traffic that you might otherwise have pace on can be a little daunting around here in this league. Aaron Parsons starting to bring the lights into play here. Thomas Schubeck currently sitting in 10th. Just behind this crowd, taking a look on the inside of Aaron Parsons. Not going to get it done this time around. Oh, and it looks like we have one of the Corvettes that went off. Oh, it was Johnny Ackerman in the Ferrari, having now dropped to, looks like P10, P11. Kreshnik Khalili and Sam Rolfe in a heated battle as well. And this is for P11. This is a points-paying position for both of these guys. And I gotta tell you folks, it doesn't matter if you're racing for the win or for 20th place. When you get into these heated battles with some of these guys, it's just as good as if you were competing for the win. The cars may be virtual, but the competition is real. Ty Guyen sitting in 14th. Jack Ivey in 17th. So back up front with your leaders. Chris Moses still trying to hunt down David Poole. David Poole just shown that he's perhaps got a little bit too much for everybody tonight. There is a one pit rotation that these guys must take. There is a mandatory one pit stop, and it is not it's not a standard pit stop, meaning that there's no by this lap you must have pitted. That's an open concept. It's totally left up to the drivers. However, they must pit at least once, take on fuel, and they can opt to double stint their tires, but they must take on fuel. So looking at your race leader, David Poole, as he takes it around the bend and gets that rear tire into some dirt. Doesn't seem to slow him down too much. Going to go ahead and cycle through the field. Looks like David Poole's starting to check out. He and Chris Moses have put a significant gap between them and third place Brad Maris. Jeremy Bryant trying to hunt down Brad Maris, but there's also a considerable gap. But here, Andrew Werner in P5 driving that Corvette C7 is C6. Sorry, he is trying to close that gap to Jeremy Bryant running in fourth. John Ludden currently sitting in the 6th position. Aaron Parsons chasing him down, driving the number 74 CompuWare Corvette C6R in P7. Tom Schubeck, Johnny Ack, Sam Rolfe, Halili, Guyen, Houston, Greatrix. Looks like Greatrix may have fallen off a little bit. He's in P16 now. Jack Ivy in 17th. Wathen up to 18th. Sam Rolfe in 19th. John Mack in 20th. So looking at timing and scoring, it looks like Al Merriman has decided to pull it off after having suffered appears to be some type of a fracas with one of the other drivers, or perhaps several, but Al having been running up in the front pack, I'm sure that the competition committee is going to have a say-so in all of this, especially if some contact was involved. So, David Poole already coming up on Bjorn Heyman, who is currently running in 19th. Sorry about that, folks. I had to go ahead and take a sip of water. It's not easy being the only broadcaster here. Oh, and contact! Contact again for your race leader. Oh, that is just not good. Oh, that was bad. So Chris Moses now moving up to the top spot, and it looks like your race leader, your former race leader, David Poole, may have had a run-in with Bjorn Heyman trying to put him a lap down. And boy, oh boy, that is a bummer. Now, not exactly sure how that affects Chris Moses, because Moses also looks like he T-boned David Poole's Corvette, so there may be some damage there to contend with until the pit rotations. So now David Poole going on the offensive to try and get his position back. And certainly we saw that David Poole had some serious pace, and David Poole not happy about that at all as they come out of Chappelle and down this long straight to turn 7. Chris Moses takes it way wide. And so they come around turn 11 club, head on down this short chute to the start finish line. So now David Poole, lost the lead to Chris Moses due to an infraction with a lapped car, now trying ever so desperately to get that position back and at least mount a challenge to take over the lead before the pit rotation. No doubt David Poole perhaps white-knuckling it right now with anger as he has lost the race lead, and that whole situation that happened about a lap and a half ago has given Brad Maris an opportunity to close the gap just a little bit. Jeremy Bryant is currently running in 4th. Andrew Werner in 5th, not too far behind him. Aaron Parsons running in 6th. John Ludden in 7th. Tom Schubeck still holding on to the 8th spot. Johnny Ackerman in 9th. Boy, oh boy, we've got 20 drivers running right now. So we're going to run through your running order as I switch some cars around here. In first place, Chris Moses, followed closely by David Poole. Brad Maris in 3rd, Jeremy Bryant running in 4th, in 5th, Andrew Werner. 6th goes to Aaron Parsons and John Ludden running in 7th. Thomas Schubeck within the top 10 in 8th. Johnny Ackerman in 9th, and Sam Rolfe rounds out your top 10. John Hewson currently running 11th. Kreshnik Khalili in 12th. Ty Guyen in 13th. Mike Graytrix back up to 14th. Jack Ivey in 15th. Ian Jolicoeur in the last points paying position in 16th. So Ian Jolicoeur, after having been up as high as 5th, drops back to the 16th position. Jean-Yves Sampson currently running in 17th. Johnny McIntyre in 18th. Bjorn Heyman in 19th, and John Wathen in 20th. That is your running order. We have 20 running cars. Al Merriman having pulled it off after incurring a fracas with one of these drivers. And again, no doubt we're going to find out what happened sometime this week. So, back on board with David Poole, your number 2 driver. Oh, David Poole, a huge lurch and a slide coming out of Beckett's and through Chappelle. It's giving Chris Moses some breathing room. It's not something he wants to do. He actually wants to apply the pressure on Mr. Moses. Cycle back and see if we can't find another battle out here on the field. Andrew Werner currently sitting in 5th, trying to hunt down your 4th place driver, Jeremy Bryant. Not too far behind Andrew Werner's Aaron Parsons. Aaron Parsons having opened up the gap to John Ludden quite a bit. Ty Guyen currently running in 12th position, trying to hunt down P11, Kreshnik Khalili. And it seems that the power cars have the advantage around the Silverstone circuit here tonight. Those power cars being the Chevrolet Corvette C6R. A lot of low-end torque, and these Corvettes have a lot of grunt, a lot of legs to stretch down these straightaways, but their true advantage lies within the torque of the engine. As we see that Ty Guyen nearly loses it. Kreshnik Kalili taking it way wide, letting Ty Guyen get by him. Boy, oh boy, I can't help but think that tire wear might start playing a part here, because some of these guys have been racing so hard that they've been putting a lot of stress and a lot of heat into their tires. Tire model in Assetto Corsa being what it is fantastic. Does model some flat spotting, so these drivers, as they come into their braking zones, have to be mindful of that, not flat spot the tire. And now Ian Jolicoeur moving up to P13 is now starting to hunt down Kreshnik Kalili and Ty Guyen. Ian Jolicoeur having a look on the inside of Kreshnik Kalili, but thought twice about it. He's going to set himself up for the old over-under. And will he get it down? Oh! Has to steer clear of Kreshnik Kalili. Takes the inside line. He's now got Kreshnik Kalili right behind him. So Ian Jolicoeur, making a clean pass, will go ahead and get in front of Kalili. Oh, Kalili having to use the engine brake feature here, going into Luffield corner, number 18. And so now Ty Guyen, looks like he just may have gone past. Let's see, who did he get past? Looks like he got past Kreshnik Kalili, and is going to start now trying to hunt down Ian Jolicoeur. Ian might be driving with some damage to that vehicle that is perhaps hindering the performance and the aero effects. So Ty Guyen on the prowl. We're going to go ahead and move it up a little bit, folks. As we see here that Thomas Schubeck in 8th and John Ludden in 7th. Andrew Warner 6th, Aaron Parson in 5th. And here we have a great battle forming up between Aaron Parsons and Jeremy Bryan. This is for P4. Ian all over the tail of Jeremy. Going to look to get a pull here through Beckett's. Ian Jolicoeur trying to find every single ounce of advantage that he can to try and put a pass on Jeremy Bryant, currently running in the 4th position. So 4 and 5 going at it hot and heavy right now. Oh, as Aaron Parsons tries to go deep into the braking zone. They come around the left field corner. That's turn number 18. Go ahead and move it up a little bit here, folks. So Brad Maris pretty much running out there by himself in P3. Oh, David Poole taking it off and doing a little bit of lawn maintenance there with Chris Moses directly ahead of him. Since the fracas, David Poole unable to get his rhythm back to reel in Chris Moses. So we're going to have to see how these strategies play out for the pit rotations. On board with my former broadcasting colleague Jack Ivey, currently sitting in the 14th spot. He is on the hunt for Mike Greatrix directly ahead of him. Hang in there, Jack. Smooth and steady. Stay on the racing line and you will be just fine. So Jack Ivey hunting down Mr. Mike Greatrix for P13. Both driving Ferrari 458s. John Houston pretty much out there by himself in P15. Johnny McIntyre in 16th. And back to your race leader, Chris Moses. Chris Moses being followed around by David Poole. David Poole not wanting to allow Chris to get too far away from him. He's got a score to settle. David Poole, P2. And your race leader, Chris Moses. So, your race leader, Chris Moses, having just put Johnny Sampson down a lap. David Poole, your second place runner right now. Still trying to see what he can do. To catch the pit wizard, Mr. Chris Moses. And it looks like David Poole may have some advantage here playing into his favor. As Chris Moses, it looks like he's coming up on some lapped traffic. And John McIntyre is that traffic. And oh, David Poole certainly losing a few tenths of a second there as he slid it through that corner. Brad Maris. So Brad Maris running in third. David Poole in second. On the hunt for a deer called Moses. Chris Moses not looking back at all. On board with David Poole, second place driver. Brad Maris just kind of running out there on his own. Jeremy Bryant in fourth and Aaron Parsons in fifth. Let's see who they've got behind them. It's, wow, Andrew Werner in sixth. So we now have a three-way battle going on for P4. Keep it here for a little bit, folks. As they come down the Chappelle straight into turn number 7, which is Stowe. So quite the battle going on for position here. Between Andrew Werner, Aaron Parsons, and Jeremy Bryant. Jeremy Bryant doing all he can to hold on to that position, not wanting to give it up to Aaron Parsons, and certainly not wanting to give it up to Andrew Werner. And looks like Aaron Parsons is starting to play the strategy of staying on Jeremy Bryant's tail to try and force him into a mistake. So Aaron Parsons with the headlights on, trying to give Jeremy Bryant the business there. More like a scare tactic. Jeremy Bryant is just not budging. Jeremy Bryant putting up a very valiant fight against one of our veteran drivers, Aaron Parsons, here at the NAGP League. Aaron Parsons, P5, also known as the Wonder from Down Under. Aaron Parsons racing out of Australia. Andrew Werner not too far behind them. Cycle back a little bit further here. Mike Greatrix running in P13. Jack Ivey, 14th. Two Canadians. Both of them hail from north of the border right around the area of Mosport. Canadian Tire Mosport Circuit. So on board with Jack Ivey, who's trying to hunt down Mike Graytrix. All of these drivers certainly doing a phenomenal job here tonight, trying their best to keep things clean. So your race leader Chris Moses gonna bring it into the pits as the rotation start. Oh, and Chris Moses putting it in the fence as he comes into the pits. Oh, we've certainly seen that before. Wow. What about your, let's see here. So David Poole now going to take over the lead here. Let's get back to Chris Moses. I want to see the type of pit stop that he has. And boy, he is in and out really quick. As John McIntyre and Kreshnik Halili go on by. And Halili is chasing down McIntyre for that 16th position. David Poole, Brad Maris, and Chris Moses. That is your top 3 running order. And so we're on board with Brad Maris, currently sitting in second. And it looks like Brad Maris now going to bring it into the pits. But let's hope that he gets it down a little bit better than Chris Moses did, and he does. And David Poole, your race leader now, brings it in. Oh, David Poole overshooting his pit stop by a few feet. Certainly not good, because that will cost you some precious seconds. Brad Maris, Mike Graytrix into the pit. It looks like David Poole is back up and running. It looks like Jeremy Bryant takes over that second spot now. David Poole is out in third. Oh, and we have a spun car. Drivers making their pit rotations now, gonna go out for their second stint. So David Poole currently in third, Jeremy Bryant in second, and Chris Moses, your race leader, Now Chris went ahead and took advantage and pitted 1 lap earlier than David Poole did. How this is going to start changing things up, I am not exactly sure, folks, but if Chris Moses goes ahead and gets out well in advance, then, well, it's not going to be so easy to pass. Jeremy Bryant running in second, and Chris Moses, your race leader. John Houston in 12th, and Ty Guyen in 11th. Ian Jolicoeur in 10th. Sam Rolfe 9th. Greatrix is in 14th. Johnny Ackerman is in 6th. I'm sorry, Ludden in 6th. That puts Johnny Ackerman in 7th. On board with John Ludden. Currently running the 7th position here. John Ludden in 7th. John Ludden, one half of 05 Motorsport with David Poole on the Monday night GT2 circuit. Johnny Ackerman running in 8th. Ian Jolicoeur in 9th. Sam Rolfe in 10th. So with about half of this race done and in the books, let's see if we can pull up what lap these folks are on. So yeah, we're about halfway through here. 24 out of 42 max distance laps have already been put in the books. Best lap of a 2:02.106. Chris Moses not relinquishing the lead to anybody, but actually has placed a significant gap between himself and David Poole. Chris Moses takes it a little bit wide there. There you see David Poole in the background, not too far behind our race leader, Chris Moses, driving the number 70 WeatherTech Corvette C6R. David Poole running the Mad Croc number 11 vehicle. David Poole, P2. Chris Moses, P1. Brad Maris holding on to that number 3 spot. Looking at Kreshnik Khalili. Kreshnik Khalili currently running in 12th. Not too far behind John Houston. Johnny Ackerman running in 8th and Jack Ivey in 16th, the last points paying position here at the NAGP League. Jack Ivey, my former Thursday night broadcasting partner, has abandoned me to go and race. And I quite honestly can't blame him. It's a new platform, new sim. And who the heck wants to be broadcasting? But I'll tell you what, like I said earlier in the broadcast, this is my way of giving back to the community that has given me years and years of enjoyment. I may not be a car developer or a car skinner or a platform developer or a game developer, but I believe that what we do here to contribute back to the community absolutely helps the community to prosper and grow in number as well as grow the community in general. So it's my little spiel. And for those of you that are watching the broadcast, if you like what you're seeing and you have a linear access controller, which essentially that means a wheel and pedals, why don't you guys go ahead and sign up for the North American Grand Prix if you like what you see and you want to start joining us in Assetto Corsa on Thursday nights, 9 p.m. United States Eastern Daylight Time, and we start at 9 p.m. sharp. Why don't you go ahead and register on the forums at www.northamericangp.com. And if you're watching via Twitch, you can go ahead and get the live scoring by clicking on the Silverstone banner that is just below the screen of the broadcast. You can go ahead and get some live timing in that way. Johnny Ackerman in 8th. Ian Jolicoeur gets shuffled back to 9th after the pit rotations, or up to 9th I should say. Graytrix in 17th. Your race leader Chris Moses not looking back, and David Poole just behind him. Brad Maris in 3rd driving the Corvette. Kreshnik Khalili running in 11th. Sam Rolfe in 12th. Looking for some battles out on the field, folks, to bring you that action. I think the closest battle we have right now might be between this man here and your race leader. But the only way we're really going to find out, we're going to have to jump on that hood cam. Oh, and there's quite the distance to Chris Moses at this point. Nearly an entire straight length. Leader putting on a little bit of a clinic here tonight. Chris Moses crosses the line with a 203. Race leader Chris Moses. Let's jump in the cockpit with the man. Still running in third. Boy, Brad Maris has held on to that third spot all by his lonesome out there. Let's see here. We've got Jeremy Bryant coming through to put these boys one lap down. Sam Rolfe in 11th and Kreshnik Khalili in 12th, separated by Jeremy Bryant, who has put them one lap down. Andrew Werner getting by. Andrew Werner getting by. Let's see here, one of the lapped cars. Lighten up the tires a little bit too soon. But Kreshnik now with a little bit of a run on Sam Rolfe. Will he be able to capitalize and get a pass done? So Kreshnik and Sam Rolfe going at it. That's about the closest battle that you're going to get on this field right now, folks. We're going to go ahead and leave it here for about a minute, and we'll be right back. Okay, I apologize to our viewers for that small little interlude, if you will. We're going to go ahead and get this back on track for you guys. See where everybody's at. So Chris Moses still your race leader. Chris Moses still your race leader. Chris Moses working on lap 31 out of 42. 31 out of 42. A best of 202.106. And his last lap of a 202.814. Second position, David Poole. Best of a 202.238, and in his last lap, 202.587. So we've got about 11 laps left to go here, folks, before the end. Whoa, David Poole taking it sideways. Brad Maris running a solid third all race long. Since the drop of the green flag. That is unbelievable. Brad Maris with a best of 202.730, and his last lap was a 202.730, so last lap was his best. There's never a huge disparity between lap times with these fast guys. They all run pretty consistently and fairly close together. John Houston currently running it in 10th. He rounds out your top 10 drivers here tonight. Tom Schubeck decides that he's going to retire from the race. Currently working lap 32 of 42, 10 laps left to go. Your race leader, Chris Moses. On board with Andrew Werner. Andrew Werner currently running in 6th, trying to get Jeremy Bryant to force a mistake. But Jeremy Bryant has just been solid all night long. Aaron Parsons getting by Jeremy Bryant, now overtaking that 4th spot. Now Andrew Werner with an opportunity here to advance at least one more spot should he keep it clean. But boy, like I said, man, Jeremy Bryant has just held on to that 4th and now 5th spot pretty solidly. So we're going to take it down your running order one more time. In first, Chris Moses, David Poole in second, Brad Maris third, Aaron Parsons fourth, Jeremy Bryant fifth, Andrew Werner sixth, John Ludden seventh, Johnny Ackerman eighth, Ian Jolicoeur ninth, John Houston rounds out your top 10, Sam Rolfe in 11, Kreshnik Khalil 12th, John McIntyre 13th, Jack Ivey 14th, Ty Guyen 15th, Bjorn Heyman in 16th, and Mike Graytrix in 17th. And let's go back there because it looks like these guys are swapping spots there. Not exactly sure, but let's see what's going on with Bjorn and Mike. On board with Graytrix. He and Bjorn going at it. Oh, and Mike Graytrix that had a little run on Bjorn Heyman's. Gonna try and go deep into the braking zone. And gets the pass done. So these two drivers swapping positions back and forth late in the race. Oh, Mike Graytrix with a huge slide, and Kreshnik Khalil takes it way wide, so no change in positions for either of the two now. And it looks like Khalil going wide to let your race leader Chris Moses through. Looks like David Poole has now pulled up to Chris Moses due to some lap traffic. We're going to have to keep it here, folks. Chris Moses with Mike Graytrix directly in front of him. David Poole going on the offensive. You see the vortex air coming off of these cars as they go speeding around some of these turns. And here we have, oh, Moses goes wide, nearly gives Poole the inside line. Poole thinks twice about it, not exactly sure why. Having had such an opportunity to get by and retake the lead that he unfortunately lost. Looks like David Poole was feeling a little merciful today. On the hood cam with David Poole. And Moses taking it wide again, giving David Poole an opportunity to perhaps get a run on him here. Both driving the Corvette. What is Poole going to do? Is he going to try and make it stick? Oh, as they come into stow, Moses round the outside. And David Poole, oh, they touched. Moses taking the defensive line. David Poole trying to stay on the outside, go the long way around them. We're winding it down here, folks, and this is now a race to the bitter end. Well, bitter for one and sweet for the other. Chris Moses, your race leader. David Poole, Chris Moses locking up the brakes as he takes it into the arena bend. And boy, they got Ty Guyen just up ahead of them. Ty Guyen 1 lap down from these two drivers. Is Ty Guyen going to be a factor here? Wow, with just 8 laps left to go. No doubt, Ty Guyen having to see that blue flag. Both Chris Moses and David Poole are by. Man, folks, I think this is going to come down to a matter of tire wear. This late in the game, both drivers perhaps driving their cars as hard as they possibly can. David Poole giving it all he's got to try and hunt down Chris Moses and take back the lead that he lost before the pit rotation stint, before the second stint even started. Chris Moses using that late trail braking maneuver. David Poole having to crank the wheel all the way to the left, trying to get that cars around that corner as quickly as he can. Five laps left to go, folks. 5 to go. 5 to go, and we've got an epic battle here between 1 and 2. Chris Moses, David Poole, both driving Chevy Corvette C6Rs. Definitely the power car here at this track, Silverstone International in England. Chris Moses unrelenting, David Poole unrelenting as they come into Stowe. Chris Moses quick on the exit, David Poole quick on the exit, but it looks like the advantage went to Chris Moses on that exit as he put a little bit of a gap between him and David Poole. I could just imagine David Poole inside that cockpit, perhaps thinking to himself, what must I do? What must I do to gain the advantage here? And boy, I gotta tell you that the only thing that he can do is drive a smooth race. Late apex those corners so he can get more speed coming out of them. And perhaps, maybe, just perhaps, but it looks like Chris Moses has the advantage of gearing on his side for those long straights. Moses, David Poole 1 and 2. Trying his very best to try and get up on the bumper of Chris Moses to see if he can gain an advantage in the draft. Doesn't seem that Chris Moses wants to give it to him. Chris Moses saying, I'm out of here. Boy, unless Chris Moses makes a mistake with only 4 laps to go, because they're working lap 38 right now, man. It looks like this one might be in the bag. Looks like Chris Moses may be scoring his first Assetto Corsa win. Race leaders coming up on Mr. Jack Ivy. Chris Moses racing out of Ohio. Jack Ivy going to keep it wide, to let the race leaders through. Good on you, Jack. Thank you. David Poole certainly trying to find that edge and not able to find it. Not able to do so. Chris Moses just driving consistent lap after lap, and he's just driving the shortest line around this circuit. This time around, they'll have just 3 laps left to go. Will David Poole start to make the moves to put that pressure on Chris Moses? Two laps left to go. Needs to be careful with them curves. Those curves are unforgiving. Two of our top drivers here at NAGP, Chris Moses, David Poole, going at it, 1 and 2. Neither one of them willing to let go an inch. Just 1 lap left to go. Chris Moses will be seeing the white flag this time through. Does David Poole have anything left for Chris Moses as they come through and take the white flag this time around. Driver David Poole looking ahead at the race leader Chris Moses for what could be the last time around this circuit. David Poole giving it all he's got to try and reel in Chris Moses. Doesn't look like Chris Moses is giving him much play. Chris Moses holding tight lines. Oh, and David through that corner holds a tighter apex, but can he get that to work to his advantage? As they come up on Kreshnik Khalili, boy, they're coming up on him fast. Chris Moses establishing the outside line, telling Kreshnik Khalili, stay on the inside, we're coming through. And boy, oh boy, will Chris Moses have what it takes to hang on just a few more corners. Does Chris Moses have what it takes to hang on for the race win? Let's see here. I think they have one more lap to go. Yeah. Oh, they have one more lap to go. They have to complete lap 42. So we go around. We do this merry-go-round one more time. As they make their way into Brooklands and then the Luffield corner, turn number 18. And through the Copsey Bend. They go. Chris Moses holding a tight line. David Poole holding a tight line. Some lap cars up ahead. Will they be a factor? Perhaps not. Here they come into turn 7, Stowe. Ian Jolicoeur directly ahead of Chris Moses. Looks like Chris Moses might be able to hold on to this one for the win. Just a few more corners as he gets by Ian Jolicoeur. And it looks that it comes down to the wire, but you know what? Chris Moses able to hold on for that win. And we are going to go ahead and try and get a hold of Mr. Moses. So you guys just bear with us 1 second as we go and grab Mr. Moses from his team room. Where is that boy? Hey Chris, Ken up in the broadcast booth. Do you copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Man, it's going really well. Boy, listen, Congratulations on that win. What a nail biter to the end there.
Yeah, I got a little cross stuff there.
Right, right.
Lap traffic.
Sorry about that, Chris. It looks like we keep losing you there. Hopefully your ping is not too bad to the Ventrilo server. Okay, it looks like we might have lost Chris Moses here on the
And
voice.
got pretty flustered there. So it was a crazy race, but first set of course. You still there, Jack? Or Ken?
Yep, we're still here. We're still here. Can you hear us?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here, Jack. Or Ken, if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but we got what you said.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Seems like we're having some technical difficulties here on voice through Ventrilo, but nonetheless, Chris, I just want to say that was a fantastic race, nail biter between you and Poole towards the end, and a well-deserved win. I believe it's your first Assetto Corsa win, as a matter of fact, during regular season. No?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Poole was raced me really clean. We had a couple hits. One where he got sideways and I ran straight into him with the lap traffic, and that hurt both of our cars. But we had a pretty good gap from there, and I'm not sure if David got his car fixed on his pit stop, why it took him longer, or what. But he was definitely a little bit quicker than me in the second stint, so I was just trying to hold on for dear life. It was nip and tuck.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. We caught that on the broadcast where he got caught up with a lapped car, and you unfortunately had to suffer the damage as well as you came into him and T-boned him. But nonetheless, I mean, it didn't sway either of your resolves. And I got to tell you, this was just a fantastic, fantastic race, and hoping that the guys that watch the rebroadcast feel just as excited as I was to broadcast it.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. Really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to watching the replay. And it's been a very long time since I've won any kind of race here at NAGP, so that feels good in that regard. And gosh, give me some motivation to keep cranking away for have a chance in this championship. So
That's it, man. Now go light up a stogie.
yeah, sounds good.
All right, so there you have it from Chris Moses, your race winner. I am Ken Rodriguez. We are out of here. Chris, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
My pleasure.
And for the North American Grand Prix, I'm Ken Rodriguez, and we are out of here.